15th Annual Stripper Olympics, Wednesday, July 15th, at Lafayette's premier gentlemen's establishment,
Michael's Men's Club.
Highway 90 Broussard. Doors open at 5 and show starts at 7 sharp.
Tickets $30 at the door.
Let the games begin. Get more details now at michaelsmensclub.com.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local with their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer, no chemicals added. Just pure Kentwood, Louisiana artesian water. Clear Springs Water offers delivery of 5 or 3 gallon water service with a hot and cold temperature water cooler or even single-serve bottles delivered to your home or office. Easy to reach, clearsprings.net, then contact us tab or 337-519-3563.
Imagine a place where wellness, luxury, and community come together. Welcome to City Club at River Ranch, Acadiana's premier private club. Enjoy a state-of-the-art fitness center, exceptional tennis and pickleball programs, resort-style amenities, and a vibrant social atmosphere. Whether you're pursuing your fitness goals or expanding your social circle, City Club offers an unmatched member experience. Visit cityclubatriverranch.com today. City Club at River Ranch, where lifestyle meets distinction.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 1037 KLWB Karen Crow Lafayette, KLCJ-FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 1041, a Delta Media station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank.
Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The FIFA World Cup semifinals are officially set. Spain beat Belgium on Friday, while England beat Norway and Argentina took out Switzerland on Saturday. Those 3 victors joined France, who had previously advanced, meaning it'll be France against Spain tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock, and then England against Argentina on Wednesday afternoon, also kicking off at 2 o'clock. The Major League Baseball draft took place over the weekend, and there was plenty of local flair. Derek Curiel of LSU was taken 5th overall by the Pittsburgh Pirates, making him a potential new teammate for ace Paul Skeens. LSU also saw Jake Brown and Devin Sheeran get selected in the first 5 rounds. In total, the Tigers had 8 players selected, including local product Gavin Guidry. McNeese star pitcher Eric Knoxstein was selected by the San Francisco Giants in the 6th round. He'll be joined by Louisiana Raging Cajuns pitcher Cody Brash, who also went to the Giants a couple of rounds later. Former North Vermilion and LSU East star Tyson LeBlanc was taken by the Detroit Tigers with the 61st overall pick. As for the Houston Astros, they dropped their final series before the All-Star break to Texas, but they did add some players via a couple of first-round selections. Logan Hughes from Texas Tech at number 17 and Jake Radell from Notre Dame at number 28 were both added to the organization. Tom Kim returned to the winner's circle on the PGA Tour over the weekend. Kim won the Genesis Scottish Open with a score of 17 under. I'm Dawson Iserloh, and this has been your 2-minute drill on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles. Your home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. Dawson Iserloh prides himself on taking a deep dive to uncover all the relevant data about the sports and sports teams he loves. And now he's sharing all those facts inside his big brain with all of you. Here is the LohDown with D-Loh on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
It is the LohDown, ESPN 1037 in Lafayette, 1041 in Lake Charles, anywhere you are with the ESPN Southwest Louisiana mobile app, and streaming live on YouTube every single day, ESPN_SWLA. Dawson Iserloh with you. If you've been listening to the station today, I've been here all day, as a matter of fact. James is still out, so I have been a part of all 4 shows, and now ready to bring it home with the LohDown here, of course. We've got an exciting show today. There's been a lot that's gone down. It is kind of, I think, the last big breath we can take. Today specifically is one of the slower sports days we're going to have. I don't want to say for the rest of the year, because there's still going to be a bunch of days where it's just like training camp stuff going on in early August, but at least that is hey, there's things to report on. Today we basically have the Major League Baseball Home Run Derby, and that's it. Now we can look ahead to World Cup semifinals. We can look back to the MLB draft that happened. But as far as what's actually going on, you got a handful of summer league games if you're into that, and then and the Home Run Derby, and that's really for the most part all we've got going on right now. So let's enjoy it because as we mentioned before, and especially for the purposes of this show, it's an all-out assault, so to speak, starting on Wednesday. I will be in New Orleans for Sunbelt Conference Media Days along with Kevin, the LohDown with D-Loh, as well as Footnotes with Kevin Foote. We'll both be live on Wednesday and Thursday for Sunbelt Conference Media Days. We'll be talking to, as of now, the plan is yet again, I don't know why I try to embark on such tasks. It's going to be a scheduling nightmare, but as of now, the plan is to have all 14 Sunbelt Conference coaches on the show, plus the commissioner, plus Cajuns players, plus whoever else we can have a conversation with while we're there. So that is the plan. We'll see if we can get it accomplished. I think last year we missed one because we had a little bit of a scheduling conflict with the Coastal coach, and we missed him. He's not the coach anymore, so maybe we'll have better luck this year. But we did get all 14 the year prior. So 27 out of 28 coaches have been on the show in the last 2 seasons here on the LohDown. We're going to go and try and make that, 41 for 42 in the last 3 years. So that's coming up. We're going to be prepping for that. And speaking of which, we just had some more stuff drop. All conference teams, coaches poll stuff drop for the Sun Belt today. So at the top of the second hour, it's an open segment, and I think that's a perfect time for us to kind of look ahead and at least forecast and give some of our thoughts about what Media Days is going to be like, give some early impressions on the Cajuns, what I've been hearing, what I'm excited about, etc. So that's how we'll start hour number 2. We do have 2 guests on a Monday. That is rare for us, but wanted to shift things around because Wednesday and Thursday we can't have any of our regulars. I wanted to at least get one of them in today. Jay Walker is not going to be joining us this week. We are going to catch up with Jay at some point in the near future. But Zach Nagy will go today instead of Wednesday because LSU had a ton of news yesterday with the baseball draft, getting maybe better fortune than they could have even expected about players that had signed with LSU that now look like they're headed to campus. Zach will give us the latest on that, and there's a couple little recruiting tidbits for football that Zach wants to share as well. So at 1:30, a little earlier than usual in the week and in the show, Zach of 247 will join us here on the show. Then at 2:30, the bottom of the second hour, it is officially the All-Star break. As I mentioned, the Home Run Derby happens tonight. That was one of my favorite events as a kid. I do have some thoughts on it. We'll get to that a little bit later on. But it means the All-Star break is officially here. Brett Chansey of Locked On Astros, we talked to him last week, and then a whole bunch of stuff happened. The Astros finished the first half of the year, the unofficial first half, right? They're a little past halfway. Then they drafted a bunch of players because the MLB draft happened. So excited to catch up with Brett on all that stuff. And as I mentioned, wasn't going to be another time this week to really squeeze him in. And then all next week, we are loaded up with with SEC Media Days, 4-day event. So really, this was going to be my only chance to fit Brett in, and I definitely wanted to have a conversation with him about some of these topics at hand. So that's what we're going to do. Zach Nagy at 1:30, Brett Chansey at 2:30. We'll talk some Sunbelt Conference and some UL football at 2 o'clock. And we have a special guest in the house, our friend Steve Cavalier from Small Sliders. I've been telling you about the anniversary bash. I've been telling you about the eating contest. He will add some validity to that. He'll give you all the details you've been waiting to hear from. And he also brought us lunch. Shout out Steve for that, of Small Sliders. He's going to join us in the next segment, right about 1:15, maybe a little after that, to chat with us about the exciting stuff they have going on in the month of July as well. So with all that being said, interesting happenings over the weekend. I did make appointments to watch a few certain events, and a couple of them delivered. A couple of them didn't deliver. I'll explain what I mean by that as we get rolling. It's a Monday. It feels like a Monday. It looks like a Monday outside. The weather's not great, but regardless, the show must go on. Let's get locked in.
D-Loh is the kind of guy that stays locked in. On what? Well, that depends on the night. But you can guarantee there was some sporting event that he found interesting. It's time to find out what D-Loh was locked in on the LohDown.
Okay, as I mentioned, few things I had on the list. We did have World Cup watching to do, but fear not, we're going to go ahead and do our red card rundown a little bit later in the show. So I'm not going to include the World Cup matches in this segment since we have our own segment dedicated to that. But I did have it written down. I've shared it with you before. If you listened, around this time last year, we had, of course, Dustin Poirier's last fight. It was in the Dome, or in the Smoothie King Center, I should say. It was awesome. It was really my first experience in person for sure And, my first real chance to be up close and personal, not only watch a UFC fight, but like get to experience. And I was fortunate enough to go as a media member, so get to be in the interviews, be in the press conferences. I've had Dustin on the show before. Of course, he's great with local media. I know it's been, a rough couple of weeks for Dustin, but I was glad to see him doing some interviews and talking about this, the fight that happened this weekend early this morning. So it looks like Dustin's doing a little bit better, and hopefully he is, getting the help he needs and getting back on track. But that got me into it a little bit. I'm still not a big UFC fan. I've probably dove in further into the World Cup this year than I did UFC at that time, but it at least got it on my radar, and it made me aware of it. And I had watched fights before, right? If somebody, obviously when the big names happen, I've got friends that are interested. If it's on, like I've been into it in the past, but it really did give me a different appreciation for what it is and what it means, right? So I have also followed along with Paddy Pimblett for a long time. He's one of those guys, right? It's kind of that new era of athlete where his social media stardom has kind of blended audiences, right? There's a lot of people who know him from this guy who always has these funny interview clips and has a great personality. Then there's, of course, a lot of people who know him as a legitimate badass dude and a great UFC fighter. I was on then knowing him as the social media guy first, and now have obviously gotten to know him as a fighter as well. And so I was like, hey, wait a minute. We got UFC on a Saturday night. Paddy's fighting in the co-main against Paris Saint-Denis. I keep saying Paris Saint-Denis. It's Benoit Saint-Denis, and he's from Paris. I said that a couple times the other night while the fight was going on. Against Benoit Saint-Denis, another name that I was at least familiar with. I had seen him before fight a couple times. And then we get the McGregor, against Holloway, which is obviously, Conor McGregor's a name that kind of transcends the sport as well with all his stardom and fame. And love him or hate him, he has been a fixture at the top of the sport for a long time. So I said, all right, let's do it. Let's watch it. As always, maybe a slight concern with when they're actually going to get these fights started, right, and run on schedule. So I got a buddy of mine who's a big-time fan of it all, and I was like, hey, keep me up to date. I do not want to miss this Paddy fight. I got to be locked in for it. So he did it, and we got locked in. We got it turned on. It's like, here we go. So as you know as well, if you're a sports watcher, like most of you are, probably almost all of you are, there's just an expectation of the amount of time you're going to dedicate to something, right? Like when you sit down to watch an NFL game, it's going to be 3 to 3.5 hours for the most part. Watch a baseball game, now that one varies a little more, but between 2.5 to 3.5 hours. Basketball game, a little shorter than that, but you get what you're doing, right? So UFC fight, you think to yourself, hey, it could be 30 minutes, could be a little more, but you're giving yourself that expectation that the amount of time you put into it is going to be worth it in the end. And as it turns out, Paddy submits Saint-Denis in less than a minute. It was awesome. It was badass, but you didn't feel like you got that investment worth, right? So I'm like, man, that was crazy. And ironically enough, like my wife sat down to watch it, and she's not a fan of that sport at all, but she also knows who Paddy is, and she's like, whatever, I'll stay up for it. And she was like, how long is this going to be? Literally, she asked me this 30 seconds before it starts. And I go, well, you never really know, but if it goes to distance, it'll probably be like a half hour, maybe a little more. And then it was over, and she's literally asked me, she's like, is it actually over? I was like, yeah, no, it's over. And she was like, that was awesome. I wish they were all like that. I was like, yeah, well, not all of us think that way. Anyway, so then after that, you go, all right, well, at least we get the main now. So that's not even the main event. We get McGregor, we get Holloway. It's his return, 5 years. Let's see it. Everybody's fired up about it. He's doing his classic McGregor stuff, getting everybody fired up. And then, as you probably have heard by now, he blows his knee out on the first kick. Now, then there was some speculation. Was he hurt before the fight started? Like, was that just a way to kind of save face and still make money and not have to pull out the fight with injury? Then they released some footage, I guess trying to prove that he wasn't hurt. Look, I'm not here for the conspiracy theories, whatever. Regardless, we didn't get an entertaining fight. Max Holloway, who, by the way, just seems like a good dude. Ironically enough, I know sometimes you see these UFC fighters, and of course they're doing a whole lot of not nice things to other people in the ring, but I've said it in the past with what Poirier's done for the community. Holloway seems like another guy like that, and he's like pointing at the referee like, are you going to do something about this? The guy's clearly injured, and they call it off. So the combined fights lasted less than 2 minutes. I mean, if you were, and I thought immediately all I thought about is if you were a fan that bought a ticket to this, and I believe it was in Vegas, and spent your whole weekend likely planning around it. Now, there were a lot of other fights earlier in the night, and if you're a big fan of it and you got there early, I know there was a lot of really good fights. I didn't see all of them, but I saw a few, and I heard that there was some really entertaining stuff. like, yeah, maybe you felt like I understand what I'm getting into. But I also know from the Poirier fight and some of the other UFC events I've at least been around, a lot of people do not show up until later on in the night when you're getting close to the main event, right? I mean, they're not going to get there right before the main event starts, but I'm sure a lot of people saw like maybe 1 or 2 fights before Pimblett won, and that's it. And you got less than 2 minutes total across those two. So it is a unique thing. Look, that is the way fighting's always been, right? You have a great build-up boxing match, and all of a sudden, guy get knocked out in the first round, and that's it. That's all we got. But it is definitely, I thought, brutal for people who probably spent, at times, thousands and thousands of dollars to be in Vegas, get to Vegas, go to this fight, and that's what you ended up watching. So Holloway wins. Of course, he, says after the fact he'd love to do it again. Supposedly McGregor's all in on running this thing back at some point. He's got a long road to recovery, and it was already a pretty big stretch for him to be getting this done at his age with, 5 years out of the ring anyway. So that was what I had like pinpointed down. All right, I want to watch this fight. And then, as I mentioned, you get 2 minutes and it's all over just like that. So did get to bed on time, at least on Saturday night, but that was not originally in the plans. Tell you what we'll do here. We're going to take a break. When we return, I told you about it, been reminding you of it. You still have time to register. The Small Sliders Anniversary Bash is going to be awesome. The eating contest is going to be equally awesome. It all happens later on this month. We'll tell you about it. Our friend Steve has stopped by to chat about what they have going on over there at Small Sliders. That's next here on LohDown.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
We are headed to Tampa, Florida next week for SEC Media Days, starting Monday, July 20th, RP3 and Mesh. And this show, The LohDown with D-Loh, will be live from Radio Row for ESPN's live coverage of SEC Media Days. It's powered by Service Chevrolet Cadillac. In addition to the live shows, the fellas will be providing boots-on-the-ground daily reports for the Jordy Holtberg Show and footnotes. So kick off the 2026 football season in style with Southwest Louisiana Sports Station.
Do you need more of the fellas here on Southwest Louisiana's sports station? Of course you do. So go make sure and subscribe to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles YouTube channel at ESPN_SWLA. Don't forget to turn that bell on so you get notifications for new episodes of 4 Tire Change Podcast, where Dawson Iserloh talks all things NASCAR, or Cleats and Sneaks with James Mesh. Get yourself more of Southwest Louisiana's sports station at ESPN_SWLA on YouTube.
Around Acadiana, community means supporting the businesses that make our hometown special. That's why we're proud to spotlight local companies that are certified South Louisiana.
Delta Home Center and Delta Trailer Sales, your one-stop shop for utility and cargo trailers. Heavy-duty dump and gooseneck trailers, portable buildings, cabins, decks, porches, fences, carports, and site-built metal shops. Located at Exit 7 in Carencro or at deltatrailersales.com.
When you support local businesses, you strengthen the communities we call home. Shop local, support local. Certified South Louisiana.
Stop smoking with Alex Goen Patented Hypnosis.
My name's Robin Fletcher. I've smoked for 46 years. I went to a seminar in March. I took my 3 sisters and my brother-in-law and my sister's best friend and them went. None of them have smoked a cigarette, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
My name is Jen Carpenter. I went to a seminar to stop smoking, and it worked.
The only stop smoking method in America proven useful by the U.S. Patent Office because it reprograms your subconscious. Alex Goen breaks your connection to cigarettes, coffee, stress, driving, even other smokers. No cravings, irritability, or weight gain. You walk in a smoker and you walk out free. Only $59.99 or your money back. Stop Smoking Seminar Saturday, July 18th, the Hilton Garden Inn Cajun Dome at 2 p.m. Weight loss at 11 a.m. Sign up at alexgoen.com. That's ALEXGOEN. alexgoen.com.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also know that I will be one of the first to respond if my community ever needs me.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Oh, look who's here.
Everybody Loves Raymond is on MeTV.
Who told you that?
Raymond!
America's #1 classic TV network.
Nothing even comes close.
Enjoy 2 back-to-back episodes every weeknight.
We're doing it twice.
Watch Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, it's all about you, Raymond.
Weeknights starting at 8 on MeTV.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
D-Loh stays locked in on a lot of sports. Soccer just isn't one of them, except when the World Cup comes around. It's time to head to the pitch for today's Red Card Rundown. You're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles. Your home for the best local sports talk in Southwest Louisiana.
We're back here on the LohDown. One wrong button gets pressed, and all of a sudden you're hearing the wrong stuff. But it's all right. We got it figured out. We got our guy Steve Cavalier here with the Small Sliders team in Lafayette. Obviously, you hear me talk about them all the time, but we've got something bigger and better than ever going on this month. Steve, first off, thanks for being back here.
Hey, man, D-Loh, good to see you, brother.
We have this has been in the works for a long time. I know it's been a big deal for you all. The anniversary bash, which is the 1 year, or is it 2 years?
It's actually 3.
3, okay.
3 years. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah 3-year anniversary of the. I guess that does make sense. It's the second location that's newer. The 3-year anniversary of Small Sliders coming to Lafayette. So let's just start off. I know we've been reading about it, but there's definitely a chance people have been out on vacation, things of that nature. So if they're listening now, just tell us about what's going down, when it's happening, and why it's going to be so fun.
Yeah, so really this got started off, of course, everybody sees hot dogs eating and all that kind of stuff. But, I said, got to thinking, Lafayette's been fantastic to us. And we wanted to really share and give back to the community. And we've never had a small sliders eating contest before. So we said, hey, why not do it in Lafayette? First time ever. So we getting this gig together. We're looking forward to it. Family oriented. We're going to have the bouncy houses. We're going to have games. We're going to have face painting. We're going to have a lot of dancing. So it's going to be a party, and it's really pushed towards letting Lafayette know how much we appreciate their business and the great 3 years that they supported us.
And in addition, of course, the other thing about it is it's free admission, right? We're not selling tickets here, so anybody hanging out, obviously it's actually kind of, it's a slower time right now as far as events are concerned, and so we're going to have a whole lot of fun out there. I keep saying it's Saturday, and it's the 25th. I keep saying 26th in my head. It's the 25th of July.
Saturday the 25th. The festivities will start early. They'll be around 11 o'clock. The eating contest, the eating championship, rather, is going to be from like 2 to 3. But listen, that party is going to keep going. So you hit the nail on the head, man. I appreciate you saying that. It's free of charge. We just want y'all to come out, have a good time, eat some small sliders, dance with us, play games. That's what it's all about.
It's also about the eating championship.
Absolutely.
This gets me fired up a little bit. One of my favorite shows in the history of the world was Man vs. Food back in the day.
Okay, yeah.
Watching the challenges, that's what this reminds me of. Obviously, yes, everybody also knows Joey Chestnut can put some things away. I don't think he's competing, so you do have a chance.
That's right.
But I heard we also have a little cash prize going on. This is going to be a lot of fun. And as I mentioned before, if you want to sign up for it, if you think you got what it takes, the applications are still open on the website right now, but you got to do it pretty soon.
Absolutely. Yeah, y'all don't drag your feet now. There is going to be some cash out there. Yours truly, Mr. D-Loh. He's going to be emceeing that gig for us. So shout out to the man with the plan. So we're pumped. And again, first ever, so Small Sliders is geared up just to share it and give back to Lafayette.
Tell me, man, what's it been like? As you mentioned, it's hard to imagine. It's been 3 years already, and now the second location, which we talked a lot about, and football season was great to kind of get that thing rolling. But what's it been like to reflect and think about how kind of quickly this thing's all come together?
Yeah, I tell you, the first one was such the one on Ambassador. It was such a big boost to our organization, to Small Sliders. Again, that location's been in the top 5 in sales in the whole entire country. And with Bertrand opening it up, we just felt like we needed to give Lafayette a little more. And when we opened up, actually September is going to be a year, man. That thing.
Isn't that crazy? Well, that's what I was thinking back, football season, right? So that makes sense.
Yeah. So we're going to celebrate our year anniversary over there. We're probably going to do a little something, throw out a little teaser. Not sure exactly what that's going to be.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been great. And, Lafayette has afforded us as an organization, as a locally owned organization, to not only grow within the state, but Small Sliders in general. Now we're well over 50 cans in 25 states right now. So our growth without Lafayette, a lot of that don't happen throughout the United States.
And so just to reiterate it, as we mentioned, it's July 25th. It's Saturday, getting going right around 11 in the morning. The eating contest 2 to 3. Free admission. Of course, I imagine the store's open, right? Selling. And so we'll have everything there that you need. Bounce house, as we mentioned, for the kids. Bring everybody out. It's going to be a good time. So, Steve, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to see who's going to take this championship belt home as well. I want to see it.
Man, listen, I'll go ahead and tell you, if I wouldn't be a partner in this gig, I might be able to slam down maybe 2 biggies. I know there's going to be a lot of cheeseburger sliders get ate, brother.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. That's our guy, Steve, talking about Small Sliders. As we mentioned, we'll be telling you more about the event as it gets closer, but it's not all that far away. Less than 2 weeks. Saturday, July 25th at the Ambassador location. We'll take a time out here. We've got our friend Zach Nagy joining us to talk some LSU recruiting and news about their baseball team, keeping some of those players who were available in the MLB draft. That's next. It's the LohDown.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we got to go fast now.
The FIFA World Cup semifinals are officially set. Spain beat Belgium on Friday, while England beat Norway and Argentina took out Switzerland on Saturday. Those 3 victors joined France, who had previously advanced, meaning it'll be France against Spain tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock, and then England against Argentina on Wednesday afternoon, also kicking off at 2 o'clock. The Major League Baseball draft took place over the weekend, and there was plenty of local flair. Derek Curiel of LSU was taken 5th overall by the Pittsburgh Pirates, making him a potential new teammate for ace Paul Skeens. LSU also saw Jake Brown and Devin Sheeran get selected in the first 5 rounds. In total, the Tigers had 8 players selected, including local product Gavin Guidry. McNeese star pitcher Eric Knoxdime was selected by the San Francisco Giants in the 6th round. He'll be joined by Louisiana Raging Cajuns pitcher Cody Brash, who also went to the Giants a couple of rounds later. Former North Vermilion and LSU East star Tyson LeBlanc was taken by the Detroit Tigers with the 61st overall pick. As for the Houston Astros, they dropped their final series before the All-Star break to Texas, but they did add some players via a couple of first-round selections. Logan Hughes from Texas Tech at number 17 and Jake Radell from Notre Dame at number 28 were both added to the organization. Tom Kim returned to the winner's circle on the PGA Tour over the weekend. Kim won the Genesis Scottish Open with a score of 17 under. I'm Dawson Iserloh, and this has been your 2-minute drill on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Your home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is packing its bags and headed to Tampa for SEC Media Days. Tune in starting Monday, July 20th, as RP3 and Mesh and the LohDown with D-Loh will be broadcasting live from Radio Row for ESPN's Live from SEC Media Day coverage, powered by Service Chevrolet Cadillac. Kick off the 2026 season in Tampa with ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Only the best of the best will stand proudly on the platform when Michael's Men's Club brings you the 15th Annual Stripper Olympics. Wednesday, July 15th. It's a special night of fun and games when the Stripper Olympics returns to Michael's Men's Club. Guys, it's a no-holds-barred competition. Ladies, you have a chance to win big if you're in the game. Michael's Men's Club invites you to battle it out in 3 categories. The pole, the floor show, and the most ancient art of them all, the lap dance. With $650 cash per category. First place overall gets $1,500. Second place overall gets $1,000. And third overall gets $500. That's $5,000 in total Stripper Olympics cash to be awarded. Plus a feature in Exotic Dancer magazine. Professional entertainers come from all over the USA to compete for the $5,000 in cash. Guys, mark your calendar and tell your friends, because this is the event you cannot miss. The 15th Annual Stripper Olympics. Wednesday, July 15th at Lafayette's premier gentleman's establishment, Michael's Men's Club. Highway 90 Broussard. Doors open at 5 and show starts at 7 sharp. Tickets $30 at the door. Let the games begin. Get more details now at michaelsmensclub.com.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Every weeknight, MeTV has your laugh therapy.
To chase away the blues or the olive drabs.
With 2 hours of MASH at 5.
This guy's ankle has tickled my funny bone.
Followed by the Andy Griffith Show at 7.
Doggone it, Otis. You're supposed to be hugging me when I'm arresting you.
But he likes you, Bart.
Weeknights on MeTV.
Watch Meet TV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Do you know a veteran in need? Nation's Finest, through the VA's Supportive Services for Veteran Families program, helps veterans and their families struggling with rent, employment, and other housing-related costs. Today, Nation's Finest operates more than 30 locations in California, Arizona, and Nevada, helping thousands of veterans every year. Visit nationsfinest.org or call 1-833-468-9676. That's 1-833-468-9676.
You know the routine. Eat, sleep, sports talk, repeat.
Well, up and at 'em. We're here.
Here is more daily sports talk from ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles.
Well, a well-established part of our routine here on the LohDown is talking with our friend Zach Nagy, covering the LSU Tigers for 247. But we usually do it on Wednesdays at 2 o'clock. We're switching things around this week. We'll be at Sunbelt Media Days at that time this week. So he was kind enough to move some things around for us, and we have him now as a guest on a Monday. LSU has some big-time things going on. The Major League Baseball draft was more exciting than maybe it was even expected to be for them, especially considering the players who decided to stay or are expected to stay now and not attend their Major League Baseball signing opportunities. You also have some football recruiting buzz, and we're just 1 week away from the start of SEC Media Days. So with all that in mind, Zach joins us. Zach, what's going on, brother? How are you?
Yeah, man, doing good. Like you just alluded to right there, Dawson. It's a time on the calendar where a lot of people expect it to be relatively quiet. But here we are, obviously, with the MLB draft now in the rearview mirror. LSU is a certified winner. And then some recruiting buzz. And then, of course, SEC Media Days inching closer. So excited to talk some ball today with D-Loh, man.
Let's start off with football just a bit. Because I want you to clarify something. I know it pops up almost every year, it feels like. And on one hand, like these recruiting services, and there is a difference, by the way, between 247, which you're a part of, and some of the other ones out there. Updating the classes, updating players' rankings, and maybe adding a star, taking away a star, that makes sense, right? These players do have, breakout years at times, and then maybe they underwhelm at times. But a lot of times after a player gets committed, you see this fluctuation. And again, I don't really think this is mainly on 247, but what's your reaction when people start to say, hey, why are all these commits all of a sudden rated way lower than they were the last time I checked?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I'm not the biggest fan of seeing rankings get adjusted, let's say, in July. I think it's just the middle of the offseason and people need content. I'm not the biggest fan of it, just because not all these players are competing at these big-time camps. Specifically, when you look at a guy like Peyton Houston, a player who is absolutely dominating at the camps and still seeing his ranking kind of fluctuate at times in a negative direction. But nonetheless, Dawson, I think that doing rankings during the offseason isn't that great. But nonetheless, it is what it is. It's where we're at. People do need that content. And for me, I think stars do matter at times. And 24/7, On 3, ESPN, all three of them have their own rankings teams that put together those, rankings together. But for me, man, it's a weird time to be putting out rankings, whatever service you're looking at. Not the biggest fan of it being done at this time for sure. And you're seeing people obviously take to social media to talk about it.
I'm with you. I mean, you're roughly, 8-9 months removed from the last competitive football game that these guys generally played in, and so it does feel a little silly, but regardless, that is where we are. Okay, with that being said, I know there were a couple updates you wanted to share on the football side of things, couple other commitments, and just buzz, Jalen Brewster, Easton Royal. What's going on right now?
Yeah, man, I'll tell you this. We're at a time right now, again, I keep talking about the calendar, but when you look at the calendar right now, official visit season's in the rearview mirror, and you have guys entering decision mode. And one of those guys is none other than Easton Royal. And talking with some people familiar with his recruitment, man, it would be hard for me to not envision him making a final decision in the month of July. I think when it all comes down to it, it's LSU and Texas obviously competing for his signature. Texas holds the verbal commitment, and they, of course, remain in the driver's seat as a school that is preparing to roll out the red carpet, meet every financial need, meet everything off the field that he needs, on the field, et cetera. But LSU's going to continue swinging for the fences here, Dawson. And for me, it's hard for me to envision him not landing in LSU's 2027 recruiting class. For me, it's always been a matter of kind of when, not if. And as he continues to lock in on decision mode, I continue to get more and more optimistic on his chances in landing with LSU's class. Will it be this week? Will it be next week? Will it be at the end of July? Maybe. Everything that I've heard points in that direction. But Easton Royal, of course, remains the name that everybody is wanting to talk about. And speaking of rankings, he got a boost in the rankings today. So always great to see a New Orleans native, a Louisiana native rather, get a good bump in the rankings. And lastly, Jalen Brewster. I'll keep it short and sweet there, man. The buzz remains between the LSU Tigers and Texas Tech Red Raiders. Of course, Texas Tech holds the verbal, and they remain in the driver's seat there. But LSU is meeting every need that he has, both financially and then, of course, on the field. Ed Orgeron is becoming a major component in his recruitment, and everybody that I've spoken to there continues to tell me that dialogue is ramping up between both parties. We'll see what comes of that. Of course, Texas Tech, we know, is willing to shell out the dollars on the NIL front, but LSU is competing aggressively in that regard as well. It will be fascinating to see what happens with Jalen Brewster, and he's another one that I would expect to come to that final decision in July, that being between LSU and Texas Tech, as he told me 2 weeks ago.
You mentioned something there, Zach, that's jumped out to me a few different conversations we've had this offseason. Like when they bring Edo back, I think we all, we can all have our chuckles and laugh about how silly the situation is in if you think about the timeline. But at the same time, I think a lot of us assumed this is maybe just more of a figurehead. This is a nice PR deal. This is going to be a funny little story along the offseason. I think we're finding out, and you've, been on this since the beginning, like, this is a legitimate hire. Like, they are bringing Edo back to recruit, and, we'll see what his on-field roles and, like, actual coaching roles are. But this is what it feels like, especially with all these different recruits that have specifically mentioned him or he's been, connected to. This is not just a PR move to bring him back. It feels like he's having a big impact, is he not?
Yeah, Dawson, you're right on the money. When they brought him back, I was kind of unsure about how this would go down in the sense of what his role would be, like you just alluded to there, or, how aggressive he would be on the recruiting scene. And I'll tell you what, it has been rave reviews so far, man. The players that I've spoken to about Ed Orgeron continue to hype him up and talk about how real he is. Ed Orgeron is a passionate guy, but he's not scared to talk about his downfalls, especially those last 2 years after, of course, a natty in 2019 with LSU, where they were subpar by LSU standards. And he's talked about that with recruits and talked about the highs and lows of his career. And that's resonated really well with the likes of Jalen Brewster as they continue to develop a relationship. So, not a PR stunt. This is one where he is putting his head down and is as aggressive as ever on the recruiting scene. We've seen him prioritize the likes of Easton Royal, Trey Martin, the number one running back in Louisiana, who's verbally committed to LSU. Jalen Brewster, KJ Green, a top 10 player in America, who's committed to the LSU Tigers. So Ed Orgeron is certainly sitting well with these recruits, making his presence felt and giving this program a really solid boost in the recruiting department, no doubt.
Zach Nagy is our guest, 247 Sports, covering the LSU Tigers. He is with us here on the LohDown. Usually joins us on Wednesdays, moved it up to a Monday here this week. Let's go over to baseball, Zach. We went into this. It's always, there hasn't been a year in recent memory where there weren't a few names to keep an eye on, right, about players that could get drafted that are signees, because they, of course, can still sign out of high school. That could change in the future, but as of now, they're still allowed to do so. It sounds like LSU basically got almost every single one that they were hoping for. What did you make of, and go through with me a couple of the names that you maybe were surprised to see, at least as of now, appear set to enroll at LSU?
Yeah, Dawson, I'll tell you what, it was a flawless draft, you could say, for the LSU Tigers. Jay Johnson had near double-digit top 100 signees in the 2026 class on board. And there were players, of course, in that bunch that were expected to get drafted, put pen to paper, and begin their professional deals. As anticipated, that is what went down. But then there were a couple of twists and turns and surprises over the last, let's say, 24 to 48 hours, where LSU started to build a lot of momentum with their signees to get them to campus. None bigger, of course, than Dominic Santarelli and Malachi Washington. These are two guys that are top 50 recruits. Malachi Washington is the number 5 outfielder in America, a top 30 player in the country, where he was expected to get second, third, fourth round money and continued to kind of fall with LSU building momentum behind the scenes. He got picked in round 18, but no doubt knew where he wanted to be and took to social media shortly after to say, hey, I'm coming to the boot and I'm going to play for LSU. So Malachi Washington's the highest rated signee to make it to campus in this class, and it's a big one, Dawson. This is one that he's going to come in and compete immediately with some big-time names in the outfield. And then Dominic Santarelli, a guy who's the number 45 rated player in the country, plays first base, is going to compete with Mason Braun immediately for duties in 2027. And he's built like a freight train, Mack truck, brick house, every cliche you want to say. He's all of 6'2", 230 pounds, can just smack the ball. I mean, you're going to have people on Nicholson probably catching balls from him over the next 2 to 3 years in Baton Rouge, no doubt. So those are two guys that were not expected in the slightest to make it to campus, and they are now. You have 6 top 100 signees making it to suit up for Jay Johnson, but none bigger to me than Malachi Washington and Dominic Santarelli. Throw in the likes, of course, with Cooper Sides, 6'6", 230-pounder, who's just so physically impressive as a right-handed pitcher. Those are 3 that stick out to me. Flawless draft for Jay Johnson. I don't think they could have asked for it to go any better.
And it is a unique thing, right? Because it's one of those that feels like it doesn't have all that much to do with LSU. It's just sometimes how does the evaluation go? What are these teams looking for? And now I do think the big game changer, though, is that these players can look at it and go, well, I can make some money while I'm here regardless, and that gives them another reason to stay. I will ask you this, Zach, and I know our friend Koki Riley's been doing a lot of reporting on this as well. Because of this, because maybe they were expecting to lose a couple more, there's too many players on this roster right now. Now, that's normal. You always enter the fall with more than you can carry in the spring, but Jay's going to, and look, some of these players might opt to maybe get out later or some of them are going to be cut, of course. What do you make of having, ironically enough, too many players right now?
Yeah, I think that's a super, super complex situation for Jay and the rest of this LSU staff. You're going to see players that are likely not to land at LSU. One of them that comes to mind is Anthony Murphy, top 50 prospect out of the West Coast, really talented player. Look, an LSU signee who is likely going to end elsewhere, got drafted by the Nationals in the later rounds and could ultimately sign with the Nationals. But from everybody that I've spoken to, the expectation is that will not be the case, and he'll probably go sign with a program elsewhere on the West Coast. We'll see what happens there. Everything's so fluid nowadays. But to your point, Anthony Murphy is just a piece of that subject matter where there are not enough spots for players when you have so many highly touted guys ultimately make it to campus. So it's the new era that we're in, Dawson. NIL is, of course, making things a lot more competitive in college baseball, where guys are saying, hey, I can go play baseball, enjoy myself, have fun, compete for a natty for the next 2, 3, 4 years, even 5 now with these new rules. So, yeah, it's certainly going to be really complicated for Jay Johnson and company, but, you utilize DSA. It's a designated student athlete where some of the guys on the roster don't necessarily count towards, your scholarship limit. And that's where behind the scenes it's going to get really tricky. And I'm glad Jay Johnson and his staff are the ones that are getting paid the big bucks to, dive deeper into that and explain that better than I certainly can. But to your point, Dawson, you're spot on. They're going to be over kind of budget. They're going to be over that scholarship count. And you're going to see some moves behind the scenes, of course, over the next 48 to 72 hours.
In addition to the signees, of course, Jay and company had a lot of their own players get drafted, none higher than Derek Curiel, who actually went maybe even a little higher than the experts thought. Top 5 pick. He goes to Pittsburgh, could potentially team up with Paul Skeens down the road. Guys even throughout the later process, Gavin Guidry gets his name called, local product right down the road. What was your reaction to seeing the next wave of potential Tigers in the pros?
Yeah, I love it. I think Derek Curiel is just a class act. A guy who was betting on himself. Ultimately was going to get selected in, 3rd, 4th, 5th round out of high school. Bet on himself, made his way to Baton Rouge, and proved that the development is real in Baton Rouge, and you can go and become a top 10, top 5 pick like he did, of course, in this year's draft. One that I'm super intrigued about moving forward is going to be right-handed pitcher Devin Sheeran. I think he's a dude. He obviously dealt with a knee injury his first year at LSU, but made his way this past season to a certain degree. But I think, his best days are ahead of him. So for me, Devin Sheeran's a guy that really piques my interest. Like you said, Gavin Guidry is always going to be a Tiger that LSU faithful is always going to love. Battled through injury, battled through adversity, remained in Baton Rouge, and continued to persevere. So that next wave of LSU players going to the minor league system, making their way up to the big leagues, et cetera, is always going to be fun to watch. But the 3 that certainly caught my attention, Derek Curiel is, of course, going to be that basic pick for me. Devin Sheeran and Gavin Guidry. Excited for those 3, man. It's going to be so fun to watch, like you said, that next wave of LSU players make their way to that next level.
It's our poll question of the day, Zach. I'll let you get out of here with this. Football season, are you ready for it? Is Media Days going to force you to be ready for it? What you think?
Yeah, it is. I mean, by no means am I sitting here in off-season mode at all. But, when you go through a wedding, when you go through a honeymoon, and then you deal with the MLB draft right here just a couple weeks later, for me, so discombobulated at this time. And now you throw in SEC Media Days, like you said, 1 week to the day. Yeah. Am I ready for it? Probably not. Do I have to be ready for it? Absolutely. So now it's time to lock in, get into gear, and get ready for SEC Media Days next week where I'll get to see you in Tampa. Super juiced for Media Days, football season, right around the corner, man.
Let's do it, man. Appreciate you as always, Zach. Enjoy the week. Safe travels. We'll see you over there.
Absolutely, Dawson. See you next week, man.
That is Zach Nagy, 247 Sports, covering the LSU Tigers. As I mentioned, every time we have him on, if you're looking to be caught up with the latest stuff in the world of recruiting, covering the teams over there in Baton Rouge, Zach's the best in the business. So give him a follow. Keep up with his work. At ZNagy20 is how you can find him on social media. And, of course, 247 Sports, the LSU website, everything along those lines as well. All right, we'll do this. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the first hour. We'll give my thoughts on the poll question of the day. We asked Zach for his right there. I've got some thoughts. They've been developing as the day's gone on, honestly. I've heard some other people's opinions about if they're ready for football, and I probably have a little different answer now than I did at the start of the day, and it might not go in the direction you think. We'll talk about that to close out hour number 1.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
With storm season having arrived, ESPN 103.7 Lafayette, 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana sports station, and Mid-South Power Solutions in Crowley bring you these hurricane safety tips. Make sure to secure your home and bring in outdoor items before the storm makes landfall. Have an emergency kit stocked with food, water, and medications. Know your evacuation routes and listen to local authorities. Stay informed with a battery-powered radio, and of course, that means you also need fresh batteries. Make sure you got the sizes right. Nothing worse than going for AAAs when you need AAs. Remember, safety is in your hands. These hurricane preparedness tips are powered by Mid-South Power Solutions in Crowley, your local Generac dealer. Visit midsouthpowersolutions.com.
ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foot's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Row coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserloh. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local with their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer, no chemicals added. Just pure Kentwood, Louisiana artesian water. Clear Springs Water offers delivery of 5 or 3 gallon water service with a hot and cold temperature water cooler or even single-serve bottles delivered to your home or office. Easy to reach, clearsprings.net, then contact us tab or 337-519-3563.
This is your Chiropractic Expert Minute, brought to you by Dr. Quentin Briscoe, chiropractic physician.
Hello, I'm Dr. Quentin Briscoe. Veterans, are you struggling with chronic back pain, neck issues, or reduced mobility? You're not alone, and you have options. Chiropractic care is part of your VA health benefits, and at Briscoe Chiropractic, we specialize in non-surgical, drug-free solutions to help manage your pain and improve your well-being. We are proud to work with the VA Community Care Network. Let us help you regain your mobility and enjoy the active life you deserve. In addition to the VA Community Care Network, we are also in network with Blue Cross, Blue Shield, and Aetna. We accept motor vehicle accidents and workman's comp cases.
To schedule an appointment with Briscoe Chiropractic, visit drqmb.com or call 337-534-0091. That's drqmb.com or 337-534-0091, because your spine deserves expert care.
Black's Outdoor and Marine is Acadiana's Spartan Mower headquarters. Spartan Mowers, delivering more mowing power and performance. Black's has commercial and residential Spartan mowers with Kawasaki motors in stock now and ready to cut. Black's also has parts, service, and financing available. Call 337-233-4272. That's 337-233-4272, or stop by 1423 Northwest Evangeline Thruway in Lafayette. Black's Outdoor and Marine, serving Acadiana since 1968.
We are the soldiers of the Louisiana Army National Guard. We are your neighbors. We are your sons and daughters. While we serve part-time, we are learning valuable life and job skills. We are earning money for college, for trade and technical schools, and for certification. We are proud to serve both our country and our home state. We are your Louisiana Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
You're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles. Your home for the best local sports talk in Southwest Louisiana.
All right, it's hour number 1 of the LohDown. Appreciate Zach for hopping on with us there to talk the latest with LSU. Our poll question of the day, we mentioned it was Zach, so we've introduced it to you. It is, are you ready for football season? The reason we asked today is because in just 2 days, myself and Kevin will be in New Orleans for Sunbelt Conference Media Days. Talking season is officially here. A week from today, myself, Raymond, BP will all be in Tampa for SEC Media Days. So in the next 2 weeks, we are going to talk a lot and a lot and a lot of college football. So whether we want it to be ready or not, or whether we are ready or not, we kind of have to be, as Zach alluded to there with his answer as well. I started the day, and ironically enough, you'd think maybe as people were talking about it more and more, right, that'd make me more ready. I think I went in the other direction. I woke up, and when we formulated this poll question, I felt like my answer, and I actually voted yes, or I voted getting close. And then the more we talked about it, and the more I was thinking about, man, I have got to be locked. As I've said to you in the past, it's not that I don't want to be ready for football season. It's that for me, I am a little bit obsessive about football. You may have caught on by now with how we talk about it on the show here. And so it is such a locked-in thing for me, no pun intended with the locked-in segment. I push it off as far as I possibly can. So my answer is actually still no as of now. I don't have any choice. I'll be ready by Wednesday. We'll be bringing you, as I mentioned, hopefully 14 interviews with head football coaches in the Sun Belt Conference over 2 days, plus the commissioner, plus Cajuns players. and who knows whatever else, what other content we can get while we're down there. But as of today, my answer is no. Still, I will give you some thoughts on the Cajuns situation, the all-conference teams that came out, preseason selections at the top of the hour. We'll reset some things and get to all that good stuff in just a minute. So that's actually my answer. I'm actually less ready for it than I maybe even thought I was at the beginning of the day. And maybe that's concerning. Who knows? We do have, by the way, fresh off the presses, the starting lineups for the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. The one thing I'll say about some of these things is, especially the way the MLB still does it, like I know the Toronto voting thing, I don't know why the voting is so... I don't personally think it should be that big a part of it. I think the, panels, I think the writers, the coaches, those types of people should be the ones responsible for sending people to the All-Star Game. But regardless, I get why they want fans to have a vote. Like Mike Trout's having a good season, but this is not even, honestly, and this might sound crazy, I don't even think this is a top 10 season in Mike Trout's career. I know the OPS is pretty good. It's up over 860, but the average is at 237. He's only got 7 stolen bases. Like, it is not a patented Mike Trout season, and yet he's your all-star starter batting first. It's not my biggest gripe. Look, there's been far worse players that have gotten to start the All-Star game, but it's just a reminder that it's not always a perfect thing, right? It's not necessarily a representation of who the true best 9 players out there are. But either way, let's just report the news. Mike Trout will lead off and play center field for the American League. Yordan Alvarez, no surprise there, will be the DH out of the Houston Astros and bat second. Shea Langoliers, of course, the brother of former Raging Cajun softball player Alexa Langoliers. He is the catcher, batting third, having a great season for the Sacramento, Oakland, whatever you want to call them, future Las Vegas Athletics. Junior Camanero's the third baseman. He'll bat fourth. He's with the Rays. Bobby Witt Jr., the Royal shortstop, bats fifth. Cody Bellinger from the Yanks plays right field, batting sixth. Riley Green is in left field. He bats seventh. Ben Rice, the first baseman from the Yankees. Ernie Clement, the second baseman from the Blue Jays. So despite all those Blue Jays starters that were inked up to be in the lineup, they only end up having one. They do also have the pitcher, though. Dylan Cease gets the ball for the American League. For the National League, Phillies designated hitter Kyle Schwarber will hit first. Juan Soto of the Mets, about the only thing the Mets have going for him right now. He's in left field. Freddie Freeman of the Dodgers bats third at first base. C.J. Abrams, the Nats shortstop, is in the cleanup spot. Max Muncy, the Dodgers' third baseman, is fifth. Ozzie Albies from the Braves is at second base. Brandon Marsh of the Phillies in right field. Andy Pages of the Dodgers in center. Another one of those unsung heroes for that Dodgers team that's still running away with the AL or the NL West despite some injuries. And then Drake Baldwin, the Braves catcher, bats number 9. The starter for the National League is Christopher Sanchez of the Phillies. So there you have it. The 2 starting lineups for the All-Star game. It'll be held in Philadelphia. So the Phillies get their guy Schwarber leading off. They also get Marsh in right, and they get their guy on the mound in Christopher Sanchez. We'll see who can take this thing home. Home Run Derby is tonight. We'll talk about that a little bit more. We've got some interesting guys competing in the Home Run Derby for sure. It was once really kind of one of my favorite events in the world. I'm still going to enjoy it, I imagine, but probably not nearly as much as my younger self did. And I guess that goes for a lot of different things in the world of sports. I'll tell you what, college baseball regionals, that's never worn off. The magic's still there, just like the first day I ever saw them. Home Run Derby, maybe the magic has worn just a bit. I'm just going to miss Chris Berman yelling back 4,500 times in a night. All right. We've got an hour left to go in the show, so we'll set up things the way we're going to do them. As I mentioned before, I do want to start off with some thoughts, some news, some notes on Sunbelt Conference Media Days. Get in the right mindset for that, because we only have one more show after today before we're there. So I got to be ready for it. So I have started a lot of my research for the Cajuns. I'm already kind of locked in there, obviously, as you know. But with some of the other teams, I've been looking through. I'm like, hey, I was real high on Old Dominion this time last year. I loved Colton Joseph and everything. That ended up being a pretty good pick. They were good. They were the second-place team in the East, but they weren't JMU. Everybody's just putting JMU at the top. I want to talk about that a little bit. So let's just give some initial thoughts. We'll start the second hour with that. Then we'll have Red Card Rundown. You heard the imaging play by mistake earlier. My bad. Doing a lot back here. We'll get it fixed for the second hour. That'll play to start at 2:15. We'll talk about the World Cup. We've got the Final Four. We've got 4 big-time name brands, superstars, everything you want. The top 4 teams in the world are going to be the 4 that settle this thing for the world champion. We'll talk about that. And then at the bottom of the second hour, as I mentioned, we'll go back to baseball We'll talk Astros with our friend Brett Chansey of the Locked On Astros podcast, Back to the Bullpen, all the stuff Brett has been having going on. So that's how we'll unveil things. Then we'll finish the show off, as we always do on Mondays, with Monday Mover. So it's a jam-packed second hour of the show. Stay tuned here. Appreciate you for joining us on a Monday afternoon, a gloomy, rainy Monday afternoon. Hopefully you're able to stay safe and dry out there wherever you are. For now, we'll take a quick time out, let you know what station you're listening to. We'll send it back to us at the top of the hour. It is the Lowdown with D-Loh on a Monday. ESPN 103.7 in Lafayette, 104.1 in Lake Charles.
The heart of Acadiana is its local businesses, the people, families, and companies that help our communities thrive. Here's a message from a proud certified South Louisiana business.
Candyland Cottage is the place to satisfy all your cravings. Find delicious ice creams, fresh fudges, truffles, hot dogs, sausage po' boys, Frito pies, and homemade shakes. Visit us in Scott and Rain for a sweet treat. Plan your next birthday party or field trip at Candyland Cottage.
Shop local, support local. Certified South Louisiana. August 15th is the date for the 12th annual Fête du Teche boat procession down the Bayou Teche. The day begins with Mass en Francais with Bishop Desatel at 8 a.m. at St. Leo's Church in Leonville. The boats then depart for a Eucharistic boat procession ending in St. Martinville. Register your boat today or find out more information at fêtedudeteche.org or by liking their Facebook page. Don't miss the 12th annual Fête du Teche, Saturday, August 15th.
MeTV is America's #1 classic entertainment television network. And here's one of the reasons everybody loves MeTV.
Oh, it's a classic.
The great comedy lineup on weeknights.
This will be fun. Come on.
With MASH.
Loaded with snappy comebacks.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I was just funning with Barney.
And Everybody Loves Raymond.
Now we got a show.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
We are the soldiers of the Louisiana Army National Guard. We are your neighbors. We are your sons and daughters. While we serve part-time, we are learning valuable life and job skills. We are earning money for college, for trade and technical schools, and for certifications. We are proud to serve both our country and our home state. We are your Louisiana Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 103.7 KLWB Carencro Lafayette, KLCJ FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 104.1, a Delta Media station.
This is Sports Center.
I'm Nick DeLuca. The NCAA facing another lawsuit challenging its new eligibility rules. 11 athletes, including Division I basketball standouts Cade Tyson and Brock Wisney. The NCAA recently completed a rule change that grants all athletes 5 years to compete, but did not grant athletes who exhausted their eligibility in 2025-26 an additional season. The University of Michigan's regents are expected to discuss an investigation into the culture of their athletic department on Thursday, with a decision on the future of athletic director Ward Manuel coming in the near future. UFC Conor McGregor will undergo surgery following his first-round loss to Max Holloway at UFC 329. Plans to continue fighting post-recovery. Appeared to suffer an injury to his right knee in the opening seconds of the bout last Saturday. His first appearance in 5 years, but plans to honor the rest of his UFC contract.
If you run a small business, you've got to try Gusto. Get unlimited payroll runs and get your payroll taxes filed automatically. Offer health insurance, 401k, and more. Get started for free at gusto.com.
Dawson Iserloh prides himself on taking a deep dive to uncover all the relevant data about the sports and sports teams he loves. And now he's sharing all those facts inside his big brain with all of you. Here is the Lowdown with D-Loh on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
It is the Lowdown, hour number 2 of 2 on a Monday edition of the show. Inside the Beal and Hebert studios in Upper Lafayette, Dawson Iserloh, known as D-Loh, with you here Wherever you are getting us today, whether it be 103.7 in Lafayette, 104.1 in Lake Charles, the ESPN Southwest Louisiana mobile app, the YouTube stream, which is ESPN_SWLA, all of which is, of course, free to consume every single day. By the way, if you miss us, every single day's shows are archived. You can catch the full replay on the YouTube stream in the live tab of our YouTube channel, and we cut out interviews, make it a little easier if you want to navigate certain sections of the show. Those are posted on Audio Mac, and the links put on socials every single day. We've had a lot of fun already. We talked with our friend Steve Cavalier with Small Sliders. Great event coming up, as we mentioned. I will be the MC of the first ever Small Sliders Eating Championship. Smalls, of course, makes the best sliders in the world, and you can have as many of them as you can eat if you register to be a part of that contest. That's going to be on Saturday, July 25th. Shout out to Steve for stopping by today. He brought us some lunch as well because he is a great guy. So that's coming up. We talked with Zach Nagy about LSU. Big-time news for them, a much better than expected MLB draft as they don't lose a ton of the signees that they thought they maybe were going to lose out on. As a matter of fact, as we heard from Zach there at the end of the show, they might end up losing a couple because they don't have enough roster spots for all the guys they signed. Because, they signed more than they're expecting because they're just generally assuming that a handful of them are going to leave for the draft. So that was some pretty good news for them. Eric Knockstein, by the way, of McNeese got drafted as well, and Cody Brash, both the standout pitchers. We had a feeling that one pitcher from each of McNeese and the Cajuns were going to get drafted. That was the case, Knockstein and Brash. The thing we didn't realize is they both got drafted by the same team, only a couple rounds apart. The San Francisco Giants will have a lot of Southwest Louisiana flair in their farm system over the next couple seasons. And one thing I did find out in doing like some research for the article I wrote about those two guys over the weekend, basically every single team in the San Francisco Giants farm system is out on the West Coast, as you might expect in San Francisco. In that area, not all in San Francisco, but, along the West Coast, except their AA affiliate, the Richmond Flying Squirrels, who happen to be all the way across the country in Richmond, Virginia. I know a lot about the Flying Squirrels because I made a little trip out to Richmond last week. Got a buddy who works for that organization, does some great things with them, and they got a brand new ballpark they just opened. So once Cody Brash and or Eric Knockstein make it up to AA, I might have to try and make my way back to Richmond. Give me an excuse to see the brand new ballpark. I got to see games in the old ballpark last summer before they opened up the brand new one starting this spring. So there's a little extra nugget for you on a Monday. We've got a lot left to get to, as I mentioned. Brett Chancey will be joining us at the bottom of the hour. We got to do Red Card Rundown on the World Cup. We got Monday Movers as well. So if you haven't locked in already, let's do it. It is it's feeling like a Monday. It's looking like a Monday outside, but that's okay. We're going to make the best of it. As I mentioned before, I wanted to start this hour with some news and notes on the Sun Belt Conference when it comes to football. They released, again, hot off the presses, second time today I've been able to give you something pretty quick here after it comes out. They released the all-conference teams. Remember, the Sun Belt doesn't do a media poll. They do a coaches poll for the preseason awards, so everything is voted on by the coaches. The preseason Offensive Player of the Year is Carlos Del Rio Wilson, the quarterback for the Marshall Thundering Herd. He had a breakout year last year. Remember, the Cajuns played against them, actually beat Marshall in that crazy game that was kind of the birth of the Lunch Winfield emergence. So he is on there. The Defensive Player of the Year preseason is Donnie Smith, a D lineman from Troy. The preseason Special Teams Player of the Year is Evan Crenshaw. Evan Crenshaw is like the most popular punter in the world these days. He is Troy's punter. He had an awesome year last year, averaged almost 47 yards a punt. Not only is he the preseason Special Teams Player of the Year in the Sun Belt, and obviously a preseason first-teamer, he is a preseason first-team All-American, according to Phil Steele, and he is going with the Trojans to media days as one of their two representatives. So Evan Crenshaw getting a whole bunch of good pub. It's, ironic enough, the position that probably you love to see the least if you're a fan of a team, the punter, but Troy has a really, really good one, and he is racking up a whole bunch of awards. As for the preseason poll, the order of finish, right? The Sun Belt still does it by division. JMU picked to win the East, I guess by process of elimination, despite the fact that they have a mostly new roster and an entirely new coaching staff. I get it, though. They're JMU. They've kind of earned the benefit of the doubt. Troy gets picked to win the West, and I kind of think, again, it's kind of process of elimination, unless you wanted to make a trendy pick and say, hey, I think the Cajuns are going to take a big step up. Maybe you think this is the year Butch Jones and Arkansas State finally figured out. Other than that, you go, hey, Troy won it last year. They got a decent bit of their players back and their coaching staff, so we'll just go with them again. That's kind of how I see it, to be honest with you. We've had this conversation a lot recently, and Kevin and I did it, and we'll do it again throughout the week. We've never known less about these teams going into media days than we do right now, especially at the Sun Belt. Even at the SEC level, I think we have more question marks than we've had in the past. At the Sun Belt level, there's so many top players that have transferred out. There's so many players who have transferred in that haven't proven themselves yet. It's just impossible to know. So many coaching changes year in and year out. The teams typically that win, I've told you this before, the team that wins the Sun Belt Conference basically every year has their head coach poached. Usually by a bigger school. There was one exception when Charles Huff went from Marshall to Southern Miss. But you go back down the line, whether it's Eli Drinkowitz, whether it's Billy Napier, whether it's now Bob Chesney, whether it's Kurt Signetti, like the team that wins the Sun Belt generally, John Sumrall, right, from Troy, he was the lone exception. He actually won 2 straight there. But the team that wins the Sun Belt Championship generally has their coach poached, which means a reset of talent, right? Redistribution. Who's going to be the best the next year? Chances are, if you have to replace your coach, and usually a big portion of your roster, it's going to be hard to be back at the top. So all these things are being kept in mind, right? Cajuns did get picked second by the coaches, which is interesting because they actually got picked 4th by Athlon Sports in the Sun Belt West, behind Troy, Arkansas State, and Louisiana Tech. Again, whether you put a lot of stock in what Athlon has to say versus Phil Steele versus the coaches of the Sun Belt Conference, all of them are guesses. They really, really are. Think about even the coaches that vote on this. Yes, they might have a better idea because they've already begun. They've seen these teams in the past, and maybe they've done a little prep work, right, because it's the conference and they keep up. They're worried about their own teams. And then they get asked, hey, fill out a ballot. Tell me who else is going to be good in the conference. A lot of these coaches probably go, I don't want to worry about that. But they do it, or some intern does it for them. However, they end up deciding to get it done. So the Cajuns get picked second in the West. 3rd overall, by the way, if you go by total points. They were just a notch above Old Dominion, who got picked second in the East, although they're not necessarily being compared to each other. So whether you want to say 3rd overall or just second in the West, either way works for me. There is one thing when you look at these preseason polls for this conference that's notable to me. 4 different teams did get a first-place vote in the East. Now, the 3 behind JMU only got 1 apiece. JMU got 11, but ODU got 1. Georgia Southern got 1, and Coastal Carolina got 1. I do think you're not allowed to pick yourself first, so you knew you'd have at least 1 vote elsewhere, but there were a few votes for some of these teams. Coastal with a new coach. Somebody thinks the Chanticleers have a chance to be good. On the West side, the Cajuns got 1 vote, and then Southern Miss also got a vote. Remember, new coach there, Blake Anderson, in after Charles Huff did his favorite thing and left after a short tenure there. So the last thing I was going to say that I noticed about the standings and the projected finish, there are pretty clear-cut last-place picks in each division. Georgia State on the east side, and they were last of any team in the league. They only got 17 points, which, again, your order of finish, you kind of get a point for where you are in each ballot, so you get the idea there. There basically was only a few coaches that didn't pick them dead last. By that point, by that quick math I'm doing, they are, count them up, 26 points behind the 6th-place team in the division, which was App State. Then ULM only got 19 points. That was 12 points behind South Alabama, who got picked 6th in the western side of the league. Told you the preseason players of the year. On the all Sunbelt first team, I'm not going to go through every player here. You can find it, and we'll talk more about it as the week goes on. But the Cajuns had 1 on offense and 1 on defense on the first team. Shelton Sampson Jr. on offense, Brent Gordon Jr. on defense. When we concluded the end of last season with the Cajuns, if you'll remember, one of my off-season little monikers that we referenced a few different times, I actually shared this. Cody Juneau, friend of the show, we had this kind of same moniker. It was 2-7-11. That was the whole, or 2-6-11, I should say. And now it's actually changed because Lunch changed his number. But 2-6-11. There were 3 players I felt like the Cajuns, from a talent standpoint, just had to try to keep and not let get to the transfer portal. Lunch Winfield at the quarterback position, Shelton Sampson at wide receiver, Brent Gordon Jr. at defensive back. They kept all 3. So now that's 6-7-11 because Lunch is now number 7, but you get the point. I think this kind of gets some validity added to it when you see that 2 of the 3, or the only 2 first-team preseason All-Sun Belt first-team selections are Sampson and Gordon for the Cajuns. Interestingly enough, you will not see Lunch Winfield's name on this preseason all-conference team at all. He did not make the first or the second team. The first-team quarterback is Carlos Del Rio Wilson, as we mentioned, who's the preseason player of the year. The second-team quarterback is Goose Crowder over at Troy. That one's interesting. Crowder's had some pretty major injury issues throughout his career. I've never been blown away by Crowder, but apparently the coaches feel pretty highly of him. He earns that second-team honor over Lunch Winfield. And if I know a little something about Lunch, which I do, and I look forward, I will ask him this question if I get the chance to on Thursday. I'm sure he took note of the fact that his name wasn't on this list. I'm just telling you the way I've seen Lunch operate a little bit, right? He's not going to make a big deal out of it, but I guarantee you he took note of it. I think he's that chip on the shoulder type of guy, and it's served him really well in his career so far. Of course, we'll wait and see. The postseason honors are the ones that matter a whole lot more than the preseason honors. The other Cajuns that are mentioned here, by the way, Caden Morrow gets a second-team nod on offense, offensive guard, anchoring that O-line for the Cajuns that they hope to be much healthier this year. And then Fitzgerald West, local product on the defensive line. Remember, entered the portal, then exited it, returned to the team, and he gets a second-team all-conference nod on the defensive line. So the Cajuns looking forward to having both of those guys. One thing I will mention about the all-conference selections that I thought was notable. Georgia Southern, they have been the dark horse in this conference to some for multiple years now. And again, they got a first-place vote from one of the coaches. Clay Helton's been there a long time. They've never quite gotten over the hump, but they've had some good teams. They've always been an offensive-minded team, it feels like, since Helton's been there. They've had some really good quarterbacks, put up some big numbers. They have the most of any team on the all-conference side on defense. They have 3 first-team selections in Athlon's all-Sunbelt first team. That is Anthony Bynum at linebacker, Chance Gamble at corner, and M.J. Stroud at linebacker. M.J. Stroud is also on the Sunbelt's coaches poll all-conference team, as is Chance Gamble. So they had 2 of the 3 that Athlon had. And then they also on the second-team defense had Anthony Bynum and Brandon Tyson. So 4 players represented for Georgia Southern defensively. Kind of the popular pick here is that maybe Georgia Southern is going to have their best defense that Clay Helton's ever had. If you get that, you combine it with Max Johnson, who I know LSU fans will certainly remember the name. He has had the much well-traveled collegiate career. It's never quite worked out for him. I certainly have my doubts about whether it's going to work out at Georgia Southern with Max, but he is listed as Athlon's #1 transfer player coming into the Sun Belt Conference in the 2026 season. So there you go. That is just an introduction to it. Some news and notes on the all-conference selections. By the way, Athlon also loves App State's recruiting class, has them 62nd nationally coming into the year and first in the Sun Belt Conference. They do use Rivals, I believe. Take it or leave it. I think I prefer 247 and On3 over Rivals, but either way, at one point Rivals was running the recruiting game. So they love App State a lot. They had the Cajuns as 8th in the Sun Belt, 95th nationally in recruiting for what it's worth. All right. As I said, let's take a break from it. There's your introduction to it. I'm not ready to do it yet, but I had to do my due diligence, give you some early Sun Belt Conference stuff. We'll probably hit on it briefly tomorrow, and then Wednesday we'll dive in. Full force Sun Belt Conference talk. For now, let's take a break. When we return, my new favorite sport. It's still on. That's right. It's soccer. It's football. Let's talk soccer after this on LohDown.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
You got to sign up for the Small Sliders Eating Contest during the Lafayette Anniversary Bash on Saturday, July 25th at the Ambassador Caffrey Small Sliders location. In addition to the eating contest, the Anniversary Bash will have bounce houses, games for kids, live music, and more, and it's free to attend. The store, of course, will be open, so you can get all those delicious sliders and fries that you're looking for. Sign up, see what you have, what it takes to win the eating championship. Visit ESPNSouthwestLouisiana.com. Click on the orange Small Sliders sign-up sheet. It should pop up first thing when you open the website, and register today.
Hello, everyone. This is Jeff Palermo. Join us on Tuesday nights for Tiger Rag Radio. Myself, Todd Horn, and Glenn Gilbo give you the latest happenings in Tiger Town and across the SEC. We talk to coaches, analysts, and those in the know when it comes to the Tigers and the Southeastern Conference. We cover all the sports: football, baseball, basketball, softball, and gymnastics. That's Tuesday nights right here on ESPN 103.7 in Lafayette and 104.1 in Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Only the best of the best will stand proudly on the platform when Michael's Men's Club brings you the 15th Annual Stripper Olympics. Wednesday, July 15th. It's a special night of fun and games when the Stripper Olympics returns to Michael's Men's Club. Guys, it's a no-holds-barred competition. Ladies, you have a chance to win big if you're in the game. Michael's Men's Club invites you to battle it out in 3 categories. The pole, the floor show, and the most ancient art of them all, the lap dance. With $650 cash per category. First place overall gets $1,500. Second place overall gets $1,000. And third overall gets $500. That's $5,000 in total Stripper Olympics cash to be awarded. Plus a feature in Exotic Dancer magazine. Professional entertainers come from all over the USA to compete for the $5,000 in cash. Guys, mark your calendar and tell your friends, because this is the event you cannot miss. The 15th Annual Stripper Olympics. Wednesday, July 15th at Lafayette's premier gentleman's establishment, Michael's Men's Club. Highway 90 Broussard. Doors open at 5 and show starts at 7 sharp. Tickets $30 at the door. Let the games begin. Get more details now at michaelsmensclub.com.
BB's Auto Sales has been serving Acadiana since 1966. Cleanest selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Need financing? No problem. BB's offers easy financing for all credit types, including in-house financing. Plus, they're paying top dollar for your trade. Voted top 3 dealership in Community Choice Awards 2 years in a row. Visit BB's Auto Sales, 2 convenient locations off Johnston Street and in Abbeville. bbsautosales.com. Cleanest cars in Acadiana.
Your Honor, I would like to introduce exhibit number 1.
MeTV is America's #1 classic television network.
There can only be one number 1, me.
MeTV features over 60 of the greatest classic TV series each week.
Go with the winner.
Enjoy dramas, comedies, westerns, sci-fi, and more.
You just watch me.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
MeTV is memorable entertainment television.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices. To learn more, visit GoVote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
D-Loh stays locked in on a lot of sports. Soccer just isn't one of them, except when the World Cup comes around. It's time to head to the pitch for today's Red Card Rundown.
All right, we're back here on the LohDown. It is Red Card Rundown. We're running out of these. I'm actually sad. I really am. I'll be honest with you all, okay? When I started this whole deal and I said I wanted to get locked in on the World Cup and I was going to do a segment every day and I was going to talk about it, I wasn't lying. Like, I was excited about the tournament, but I did not think I was going to enjoy it as much as I have. It has actually gotten to the point, can't believe I'm saying this, I am considering starting to just watch other games, like just watch soccer. I don't know if I'll get in on the Premier League stuff. Like, I've tried to do the whole pick a team thing in the past. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I won't. I've always kind of said, if people ask me if you had to pick an MLS team, I go, well, the Houston Dynamo, because I've seen the stadium. I've been down there, so many times for Astros games. They share colors with the Stros. They're right next door. But I am legitimately considering getting into it more. And so that way, when the next World Cup comes around, I will be more familiar with some of the players. I'm not going to make it it's not going to jump up there. And don't worry, as I said before, it's not going to be football, baseball, soccer, the top 3 sports on this show. But I have genuinely enjoyed this. So I am actually sad that it's coming to an end. What's not sad is the matchups we get in the semifinals. We get the top 4 teams in the world. And I think that's been pretty clear now. If you thought somebody like Norway was going to finish off their crazy run, if you thought maybe, at the beginning of this tournament, somebody like Brazil was going to be there, I don't think you'd have been called crazy. But it's Argentina, it's England, it's Spain, and it's France. And those have been what feels like the best 4 teams. I'll say this, I've always, and I think most of us who have watched a tournament, beginning to end, France has felt the least flawed and the most consistent of the 4. And that was evident again. in their, in every step of the way. Now, I will also say, and people have brought this up, and it's a fair criticism, or not even criticism, but point. Their path didn't have any of the, the gigantes, to use a Spanish word, any of the giants facing them, right? They got Morocco in the quarters. They were way better than Morocco, and they handled them. Spain has had a couple games where they really looked a little bit lost, although their defense has been great. Belgium got a goal on them, but they handled their business in the end. They've got the young talent, Lamine Yamal. England, to me, has never looked like the best team in this tournament. And yet, from what you hear, right, about the English side and all their history with failures late in these World Cup runs, for them to have gotten here and us acknowledge that they've been vulnerable to potentially lose a match a lot of different times, I think that is that's an impressive sign for them. That is rather nice for them to go, hey, in a year where we really have had some struggles and we're known as the team that collapses, we're still standing. We're still standing with the other giants of the sport. And, it was never shown any better than when they beat Norway after falling behind early on. And, Holland never was able to put his stamp on that game. The one thing, by the way, if you watch the Norway-England game, that run out, I know you probably saw where Holland is, kind of trailing the play, but he's right in stride with the other striker, with the other offensive player. And there's just no pass that ever comes. The guy tries to do it himself for Norway and just gets caught up, ball deflected, and you're sitting there going, my guy, you have one of the best players in the world. If someone's going to fail, make it be Holland. Why did you try to take that moment? And in my opinion, it was a selfish play when you've got your running mate and one of the best players on the planet who's having an all-time World Cup running there right with you, and there was ample opportunity to get him the ball early, and he didn't do it. But anyway, England does prevail, and I was impressed by it. And then Argentina, who had a lot of trouble with Switzerland. I know the controversial red card. We talked about it with RP3 earlier. They get 2 goals in extra time in the 112th and the 120th minutes. Julian Alvarez and Lautaro Martinez to win that one 3-1. Switzerland, look, they were game. They played better than a lot of people expected to. And so same with Argentina, right? I feel a little bit the way I feel about Argentina, how I felt about England. They're here. They've got the best player of all time. They won the last World Cup. So in some ways, you sit there and go, why are you surprised or why would you doubt them? They were absolutely on the ropes against Egypt. They had to come up with one of the best comebacks of all time. Remember, they gave up 2 goals to Cape Verde. They had to go to extra time to beat Cape Verde in the round of 32. And they trailed in that game. They have had some real moments. The 2-0 comeback to Egypt. And so it literally has not come easy in any of the knockout games for Argentina. Their group stage, they kind of cruised. They won every game by multiple goals. Anything from that, since you've gotten in the knockout phases, even though it's a 2-goal win over Switzerland, as we know, it took extra time and they were playing up a man. But here's the thing. One of those 2 teams is going to play for the final. Is going to play for the championship. I feel, it's just a gut instinct, and it's probably my limited soccer knowledge going, man, England's got the 2 guys I fear in Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham versus Argentina having one with Messi. And I know they've got more than just Messi, but the names that really scare you, at least from me watching this tournament. So I think I lean England. But at the same time, I told you guys this before, and I'm not backing off of it. It's the 250th anniversary of the great country that we live in, the United States of America. We had a quarry with those British guys 250 years ago, and it launched this great nation we're in right now. I'll be darned if the Brits are holding up the World Cup trophy on our soil on our 250th birthday. Just can't happen. So whether it's Argentina and Messi that get it done, whether it's France or Spain in the final, either way, I don't care. We got to find a way to get England out of this tournament and not winning the whole thing on our soil. That being said, France and Spain, I think, is going to be a classic. I do think France is the better team, as I mentioned before. So if I'm picking right now, I'm picking France. These games are at 2 o'clock, both of them. That's tough, especially for my show. We'll be literally doing the show for the first hour of the game. But hey, we'll be able to give you live updates if something happens and let you know how things are going. I'll close it with this. Last point on the red card rundown of the day. I actually saw the FIFA president, you might have seen it as well, considering moving this tournament from 48 teams to 64. They moved it from 32 to 48 this year. They're now considering, at least talking about the idea of 64 for the next World Cup. I am almost always anti-expansion. I was against expanding the playoffs in the NFL. I was against expanding the playoffs in the NBA. I was against expanding the playoffs in Major League Baseball. I was for the expansion of the college football playoff just because of the inclusion factor. But then now they're kind of keep expanding it. I'm like, guys, let's slow down. I was vehemently against expanding the NCAA basketball tournament, so on and so forth. FIFA, and here's where I'll like make two different points. Do I think FIFA's expanding the tournament because of what they're going to tell you, which is we want every nation to have the right to dream of playing in the world's biggest sporting event? Is that their real reasoning for expanding it? No. The reason they want to expand it is because they know they're going to make a boatload more money if they have 64 teams instead of 48. They're going to have double the number of games than when they had 32 teams in it just 4 years ago. They're going to be able to send it to more different cities. They're going to be able to send it to more different stadiums. They're going to get people from more countries to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to travel, which then allows them to drive up the prices for the broadcasting rights and the hosting fees and whatever else that FIFA wants to do. So I'm not buying this whole FIFA, well, we just want for the love of the game to get spread all across the world. But at the same time, I will say this. Now that it's gone to 48, and remember, like a lot of the people who were skeptical, I think have started to come on board and go, well, you know what? There were a lot of small countries that really did play well and kind of show you that the game is advancing. There was probably a time where the World Cup only needed to be 8 teams because there just wasn't that many countries that were able to put together competitive squads. We clearly see the Cape Verdes of the world. They can compete, at least to an extent. The other reason I don't mind it is this. 48 is an awkward number. We've got these expanded groups, and now, like I said before, 8 of the third-place teams make it, 4 of them don't. You got to do tiebreakers. You got to do mathematics. You got to do all this different stuff. You can really be one of the worst teams in your group, the third-place team out of 4, and still move on to the knockout stages. If you go to 64, while some of the groups will be a little more watered down, you probably only have one quote-unquote powerhouse in every group, and then a couple of them won't have any at all, and there'll be some teams that are pretty bad in there. It goes back to the old way. Hey, you got to be one of the best 2 teams in your group. And if you don't show up, and maybe you do have one good team in your group that you lose to, and then you lose another match, you might be done. Makes it a lot more uniform, a lot more fair, and it goes back to going, hey, you better show up in your 3 group stage matches if you want to make sure you're playing in the knockout round. So I actually think I'm in favor of going to 64. And by the way, if you're like a diehard soccer fan, you're listening to this and you're going, you don't know what you're talking about, I fully give you the right to say that to me because I'm not a diehard with this sport and I don't live and breathe it every day. Same way I get real offended when people talk about the NFL stuff because I'm like, come on, man. The expansion now, different conversation for a different day on how that has affected the sport, whether it's been good or bad, things of that nature. Anyway, all that being said, I'm ready to watch these semifinals. It's going to be good stuff. Red Card Rundown concludes for the day. We'll take a break. When we return, Brett Chansey, talk Astros. That's next.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up!
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys! Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The FIFA World Cup semifinals are officially set. Spain beat Belgium on Friday, while England beat Norway and Argentina took out Switzerland on Saturday. Those 3 victors joined France, who had previously advanced, meaning it'll be France against Spain tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock, and then England against Argentina on Wednesday afternoon, also kicking off at 2 o'clock. The Major League Baseball draft took place over the weekend, and there was plenty of local flair. Derek Curiel of LSU was taken 5th overall by the Pittsburgh Pirates, making him a potential new teammate for ace Paul Skeens. LSU also saw Jake Brown and Devin Sheeran get selected in the first 5 rounds. In total, the Tigers had 8 players selected, including local product Gavin Guidry. McNeese star pitcher Eric Nachtsheim was selected by the San Francisco Giants in the 6th round. He'll be joined by Louisiana Raging Cajuns pitcher Cody Brash, who also went to the Giants a couple of rounds later. Former North Vermilion and LSU East star Tyson LeBlanc was taken by the Detroit Tigers with the 61st overall pick. As for the Houston Astros, they dropped their final series before the All-Star break to Texas, but they did add some players via a couple of first-round selections. Logan Hughes from Texas Tech at number 17 and Jake Radell from Notre Dame at number 28 were both added to the organization. Tom Kim returned to the winner's circle on the PGA Tour over the weekend. Kim won the Genesis Scottish Open with a score of 17 under. I'm Dawson Iserloh, and this has been your 2-minute drill on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Your home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is packing its bags and headed to Tampa for SEC Media Days. Tune in starting Monday, July 20th, as RP3 and Mesh and the LohDown with D-Loh will be broadcasting live from Radio Row for ESPN's Live from SEC Media Day coverage, powered by Service Chevrolet Cadillac. Kick off the 2026 season in Tampa with ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
The best businesses aren't just businesses, they're neighbors. Here's a message from a proud certified South Louisiana business.
Brobridge Truck Stop Casino. They have the newest games around. Hot seat drawings and monthly specials like no one else. Located on the Brobridge Highway and on the banks of the Vermilion River. Come out today and try your luck at the Brobridge Truck Stop Casino.
When you support local businesses, you strengthen the communities we call home. Shop local, support local, certified South Louisiana.
Looking for a spotless workplace? Variety Janitorial Services is your go-to. For office cleaning to stripping and floor waxing and carpet cleaning, your commercial space will look its best. Their reputation for perfection has grown throughout the entire Acadiana community. They deliver top-notch service with a commitment to excellence. Daily, weekly, or deep cleaning, trust the experts. Visit varietyjan.com today or call 337-298-8704 for a free quote. Variety Janitorial Services. We clean, you shine.
Acadiana area businesses. Is it time to make an impact? Time for more traffic, more engagement, time for more customers? Then it's time to make a splash with Bass. Bass is now offering digital marketing, indoor and outdoor digital signage, billboards, and video production to help you reach more customers and close more business. For over 30 years, Bass has helped our customers tell their story. Bass Companies. Remember, a business without a sign is a sign of no business. Advertise with Bass. Find us around Acadiana or at bassltd.com.
Oh, look who's here.
Everybody Loves Raymond is on MeTV.
Who told you that?
Raymond!
America's #1 classic TV network.
Nothing even comes close.
Enjoy 2 back-to-back episodes every weeknight.
We're doing it twice.
Watch Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, it's all about you, Raymond.
Weeknights starting at 8 on MeTV.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices. To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
Do yourself a favor and download the free ESPN Southwest Louisiana mobile app, powered by Moss Motors BMW for your Android or Apple devices. Download the app by searching ESPN 103.7 Lafayette or ESPN 104.1 Lake Charles. It's just that easy to take Southwest Louisiana's sports station with you wherever you go.
All right, the LohDown rolls on a Monday. Our last guest of the day is our friend Brett Chansey, Locked on Astros podcast, Back to the Bullpen, and a whole lot more. He is with us because it is a really interesting time for the Stros. The All-Star break is here. The Astros limped to the finish just a bit, but they also added players via the MLB draft yesterday and over the weekend. So we got a lot to get to. Brett, first off, thanks for doing this, buddy.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for giving me the vine. I appreciate it. You know, there's a lot of excitement that can be had in the second half. We can put some of the woes behind us, hopefully, and maybe it's a dawning of a new day as Astros prospects are moving up. We got some really good picks, and Jordan seems to be clearly focused on winning the MVP.
Let's start with the draft. You know, it was interesting. They had a couple picks there because of the Hunter Brown compensation, so they add 2 players. There's rave reviews about the bat of the Texas Tech guy they take in the first round in the top 15. I will say, though, there are some concerns about the rest of his game. He's not a plus defender. He's not a plus runner. But clearly the Astros just thought the bat was too undeniable. What do you make of Hughes and kind of maybe some of the excitement, but also maybe the limitations?
Well, yeah. So you saw the Astros come into this. They had a clear direction. They wanted to go with certain aspects. They wanted to go with guys that had great, plate recognition, great pitch recognition. I mean, this guy Logan Hughes hit 501 on pitches 95 or higher. And his ability, he'll walk as well. He gets on base, and he's not a glove guy. He plays left field. He plays first base, and he's not a plus defender. But when you have a bat like his that is as disciplined as his, and if that can grow, I mean, he's played in college like he's come out of high school. That right there is reason to be excited. Look, they went after Logan. They went after the guy from Notre Dame. They went for Wes Mendez, Jack Radell, the guy from Notre Dame. These guys were projected to go later in the draft. And the reason why you pick guys that are supposed to go later in the draft, you pick them early, is because you can sign them under slot. And the two prep players that they really wanted was Peterson and Johnson, who I think have some phenomenal upside.
Yeah, and I will say, I'm not comparing the two players because that's entirely unfair to do, but you go, hey, what about a guy who's got a plus bat who doesn't really have a position, isn't a great runner or fielder? That's a guy named Yordan Alvarez, and that's been working out okay for him. So, past that, I will add in, I am a big Wes Mendez guy. I've seen him pitch a lot because he was at Florida State. There was like this concern about like having 1+ pitch, but I just watched him get guys out, man, over the last couple seasons. And so that's one, like, I think that's a player who I don't know if he's ever going to be a Cy Young candidate. I just feel like he's going to be a big leaguer potentially for a long time.
Well, here's the thing. The evaluators are saying he has a 5-pitch arsenal. He has one of the best changeups in the entire draft class. So, he can reach 96. He struck out 32.6% of his hitters that he faced and walked 6.5%. So those are good numbers. With him being a strike thrower, he does have swing and miss stuff. I think he becomes immediately one of the organization's top left-handed pitching prospects, and probably one of the most exciting arms in their system. I like what this guy brings, not only his arm, but I love the fire that this kid has.
No doubt. All right, let's talk then about what this team is looking like currently, Brett. We mentioned it last week when we had you on. Would have loved a strong finish to the first half, and man, they're right there. That game last night was brutal to watch as they give up the lead late. You're thinking maybe it's going to be this awesome Cam Smith moment, and your bullpen, which has been awesome for you, just didn't hold up in the back end. I got to say, there was something that happened aside from that over the weekend that still has me concerned. I am still not seeing the Brian Abreu I was hoping would find himself by now. I know it's been better, but my goodness, it feels like they need that arm back in the back end. And then the starting pitching, we know that's the big thing everybody's talking about right now. What do you make of where this pitching staff sits as we head into the All-Star break?
Well, going in, obviously, no matter where Hunter Brown is, because he's not been terrible, he just hasn't been Cy Young nominee Hunter Brown coming off his injury. He's still your number one. Peter Lambert is your number 2 easily. I think Colton Gordon is a guy that will stand a chance to become a starter. Javier, I think you relegate him to the bullpen. I think Kawhi Tang to the bullpen. Spencer Arrighetti, you better hope he figures it out. Tatsuya Imai, he's got to figure it out. And I'm not putting a whole lot of stock in Lance McCullers Jr., but you got Ronel Blanco, Hayden Wesneski coming back, those 2 guys. And then you have the outside guys, like Ethan Pecco, who's not on the 40-man, but if they have enough confidence in Pecco and guys like Lance McCullers Jr. aren't cutting it, or Christian Javier can't be that starter they want him to be, or Ronel Blanco falters a little bit, maybe Pecco gets that promotion to the big league. So The thing is, the Astros have a lot of options. They're just a lot of like, the guy's got potential, or we know what he's done in the past, but no one really nailing it down. So that makes me think that they're definitely going to be going after a starting pitcher. I don't think you have what you have in-house and have a successful run to the playoffs. You may stumble into the playoffs, but with this rotation, you've got your 1 and your 2 guy, Hunter Brown, Peter Lambert, but who do you have after that? And I think that's where they're going to be looking on the open market to see who's available.
It is such a fascinating trade deadline. As I did a thing about expansion earlier. We're talking about the World Cup and stuff, and like I was against, the baseball playoffs expanding, but at the same time, you look up and go, hey, it wasn't necessarily great for the game when like 70% of the league was done with the season and there was only a handful of teams that were going all in every year. It does make it a lot more difficult for those teams that are in the middle, like the Astros are right now, to navigate, right? Because you don't really know who's a buyer, who's a seller. We have more of these kind of hybrid teams, right, where they maybe sell off a couple bad contracts and buy at the same time. I kind of feel like maybe the Astros are in that spot this year, right, Brett, where maybe they do trade an Isak Paredes. Maybe they do trade one of these arms, but they also might add 1 or 2 pieces that could help them this year as opposed to just getting prospects in return.
Yeah, exactly, and so that's where you have to evaluate. Joe's saying, "Hey, I like where we're at. We're only 3 games out." Okay, Joe. I get it. You're a game and a half out of the wild card. Seattle's 48 and 49. These guys can't put together a long streak of winning. I think they have 1 big winning streak this year, and that's it. And then you have the Rangers, who I have no idea what kind of team they are in the long run. So it is absolutely wide open, and you do have the ability to say, you know what, let's go get somebody. But we're going to have to give up Paredes. We're going to have to give up Walker. Do you give up a Josh Hader? You know what I'm saying? Do you entertain Jeremy Pena if you get a haul back? You've got to get major league ready players. Those are the hard questions you're going to have to ask. Let's say come the 3rd week in July, okay? Well, no, not the 3rd week, because I guess, let me see, because we're at the 13th right now. The end of July, because August 3rd is the trade deadline. If you come out of this All-Star break in these next 2 weeks, you don't win at least 9 or 10 games, and you're not a few games over 500, I just don't know what you're doing and spinning your wheels and making some like false, this false hopes of going deep in the playoffs. Yeah, you may make the playoffs, and I know we did well against the Rays, but it's the playoffs, and the Rays are going to get better. The White Sox may go get somebody. The Yankees may go get somebody, and they are all playing baseball over 500.
Brett Chansey is our guest, host of Locked On Astros podcast, with us here on a Monday edition of the LohDown. All-Star festivities. The Astros don't have a ton of them, but they've got one in the starting lineup, of course. That's Yordan Alvarez. He's having, the best season of his career. He's 6 homers off of his career high. Seems like he's going to smash that number as long as he stays healthy. Just how fun has it been, Brett? And I feel like it's just been, we all knew this was the player he was, and he's been this player at stretches, but when he hasn't put together a full season like this, I sure hope we get to see him do it and maybe crack 50 or more homers this year.
Yeah, look, I've said for the last 3 seasons that this guy has the ability to hit 60 home runs. He just has had to stay healthy. Now, what would be even better is if he had an offense around him that was consistent, and that's the thing. I think the offense has been better than what I think the whole story tells, but they haven't been good enough in the right places. Like, for instance, Yordan Alvarez getting his solo home runs. I love it. But if you're having him second, he's not going to get a lot of, 2 or 3 run home runs. I think Yordan needs to be cemented into that 4 hole, and you put guys in front of him that are going to get on base. You put Altuve behind him. You don't put Altuve 1 through 4. I think he goes no higher than 5th in this lineup, the way he's hitting. If you put Yordan 4th, you put Jeremy Pena, Isak Paredes, and then, gosh, I don't want to put Christian Walker because he's a double play machine right now. I don't know who you would put in front of Jordan, but you got to move him back at least to 3 or 4. Give him a chance for more RBIs. Without him, this team is not relevant. He is the most valuable player on any team in the American League, and I hope it stays like that the rest of the year. I mean, Bobby Witt Jr. is having a great year, but the Royals aren't doing anything with his help. How valuable is he to the team? They would absolutely be irrelevant without him. So he, to me, should get the MVP this year, even being a DH.
I'm glad you mentioned that lineup construction thing, Brett, because I had the exact same thought in the game on Sunday against the Rangers, where Jordan gets intentionally walked, and look, that's going to happen a lot. Like, he's going to get intentionally walked a lot in the second half of the year, and Isak's coming up, and I like Isak, right? But that's not the guy I want protecting Jordan. Now, in the at bat I'm talking about, he had a 2-run single. It was great. It paid off, but I'm with you, man. It feels like there's got to be a better way to protect him right now, because that whole, hey, there's a base open, he's going to get walked thing, that's about to happen like way more than it has to this point.
Yeah. Look, man, this year I keep saying is like having 3 El Tiempo margaritas by the top of the 3rd inning at Dyken Park. I mean, it is just an absolutely drunk affair. And I just don't know. I just don't know how the season's going to end. The second half gives you a lot of hope to see who can shine. Maybe Hunter Brown, nails it down. Maybe Cam Smith gets hot, and maybe a big trade helps this team down the stretch. That's what they're looking to do. I really think the Astros have their eyes on the playoffs.
You got a pick for the home run derby tonight?
It's funny. Everybody's going for Kyle Schwarber, which makes complete sense. But that to me is almost a trap pick, I think, at this point. I like Junior Caminero, but he just seems too. I don't know. He seems like he's starting to get a little bit full of himself. He's a great player. He's pretty humble, but he's starting to get a little cocky. I'm going Murakami tonight. I'm going Minnetonka Murakami because this guy's never done this before. And I think he's the perfect guy to go out there and do it. I'm going for the surprise pick. I'm going for Murakami, the first Japanese player to win the home run derby.
I like the pick. I will close it with this, Brett. I know you've got some cool interviews that are going up, that are in the process of getting posted, man. Tell us what you got going on and where we can find them.
Man, so Locked On Astros tonight before the home run derby at 5:45. We're airing one of the teammates of newly minted Asheville tourist Xavier Nance, his teammate Neymar Ochoa Jr. from Galena Park High School in Texas, interviewing him tonight. And before the All-Star game tomorrow night, we have Justin Thomas Jr., also the Asheville Tourist, 2 rising stars. And we're going to have some other things. We're going to have Jimmy Price this week back on from Astros Future. So we got a lot going on. Even though there's no Astros baseball, there's plenty to talk about. And make sure you check out Back to the Bullpen on the Locked On MLB channel. We'd love to have you as a subscriber. Share our show with everybody and make sure you know that no show does more. And we are Locked On Astros, your team every single day.
It's good stuff, Brett. Enjoy the All-Star break, and we'll catch up again down the road, buddy.
Thank you, sir. You do the same.
That is our friend Brett Chansey talking Stros with us. Probably the last time for at least a little while we're going to talk to Brett with all the Media Day stuff happening. So we'll see how different the Astros look as a ball club the next time we have him on the program. We'll take a time out here. We'll wrap up the show, get you set up for AFR after the break. This is the LohDown on a Friday. Stay tuned.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Bluebell has been making the best ice cream in the country for more than 100 years, and they've unveiled yet another great flavor, I should say, this summer, chocolate lava cake. I do have to tell you as well, I've been able to sample it. They brought it here to the studio. It's unbelievable. I'm not in on every new flavor. I like some of the classics. For me, this is it. I'm a lover of things chocolate. I love stuff that has fudge in it. And this kind of has all the best parts. It's vanilla ice cream with rich chocolate cake pieces, chocolate sundae sauce, and a dark chocolate fudge swirl, creating a dessert-like experience reminiscent of a molten chocolate lava cake. in every bite. You can find it along with the rest of your Bluebell favorites at your local grocery store. So make sure to pick up a pint or two of Bluebell ice cream today.
ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foot's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Row coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserloh. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local with their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer, no chemicals added. Just pure Kentwood, Louisiana artesian water. Clear Springs Water offers delivery of 5 or 3-gallon water service with a hot and cold temperature water cooler or even single-serve bottles delivered to your home or office. Easy to reach, clearsprings.net, then contact us tab or 337-519-3563.
Ready to transform your backyard into the summer paradise you've always dreamed of? With Duplessis Builders custom gunite pool packages, we make it simple to own a stunning, long-lasting, in-ground pool built just for you. Choose from classic designs, all customizable to fit your space, style, and budget. Our pools come with quality finishes, energy-efficient equipment, beautiful lighting, and professional installation from excavation to decking so you can dive in before the next heat wave hits. Don't just dream it, build it. Visit duplessisbuilders.net.
Hello, Acadiana. Cajun Culture, your #1 full-service dealer for new, used, and custom golf carts. Perfect for on the job site, the neighborhood, or even out on the green. We are the only authorized dealer of American-made E-Z-GO and Club Car here in Acadiana. For all your service, sales, and mechanical repairs, we got you. So don't wait. Roll on over to CajunCarts.com or stop by our Lafayette location by the Jockey Lot and see why we've been Louisiana's golf cart headquarters since 2003. Cajun Carts. Why walk when you can ride?
Every weeknight, MeTV has your laugh therapy.
To chase away the blues or the olive drabs.
With 2 hours of MASH at 5.
This guy's ankle has tickled my funny bone.
Followed by the Andy Griffith Show at 7.
Doggone it, Otis. You're supposed to be hugging me when I'm arresting you.
But he likes you, Bard.
Weeknights on MeTV.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices.
To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Monday. Is it really Monday already? Plenty of things in the sports world have been on the move in the past week. Question is, have they been moving up or moving down? D-Loh is here to evaluate. It's time for Monday Movers on the LohDown.
That is right. We do Monday Movers to wrap up each Monday show. What's moving down is the number of days until college football season. It's approaching way more rapidly than maybe I would like, but it's going to be here, and media days are here. So we need to prepare accordingly, and we will, of course, be doing that. What's also moving down is the ranking of the final 4 teams in the FIFA World Cup. Lowest ever. It's the first time ever in the event. We have the number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. That's the top 4 if you're keeping track at home. Ranked teams via the FIFA World Rankings in the semifinals. So whether it's France, Spain, England, or Argentina, one of the 4 that was expected to be here will be the one that raises the cup in MetLife Stadium, which I guess they're going to call New Jersey Stadium since they don't use the real stadium names. Not exactly sure, but either way. What's moving up is the number of baseball players who are going to get a chance to live out their dreams. We told you about it. UL player Cody Brash, Eric Knoxdime of McNeese, 8 LSU players, including Derek Curiel, the number 5 overall pick, and Tyson LeBlanc from Kansas, who played at LSU E and North Vermilion High School. All of these guys and so many more had their names called during the Major League Baseball draft. They will begin what can be at times a tiresome, long navigating odyssey from single A ball potentially all the way up to the show, where you become a Major League Baseball player. Should be fun to keep track, of course, of all of these careers and how it may impact the Astros and obviously the other 29 Major League Baseball clubs. And lastly, one thing else that's moving down, speaking of countdowns, we're counting down to college football. We're also counting down to the last golf major of the season. Tom Kim wins the Genesis Scottish Open, but I'm more concerned with what that means about the Open Championship. It means it's this week. We're only 3 days away. I can't wait. We had tee times come out this morning. They don't mess around with the Open. I mean, they put these tournaments, these tee times out on a Monday morning. They're already ready to roll. So the tournament will start at ungodly hours for us here in the Central Time Zone, but I look forward to getting up a little earlier on Thursday and Friday morning to catch some Open Championship on Thursday before I head over to Sunbelt Media Days, and on Friday before we get everything rolling with our day. That'll do it for us on the Lowdown. Thank you to Brett Chansey. Thank you to Zach Nagy. Thank you to Steve from Small Sliders for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same places, 1 to 3 p.m. This has been the Lowdown. Appreciate you for tuning in. For now, we turn it over to AFR. You are listening to ESPN 103.7 in Lafayette, 104.1 in Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana Sports Station.
Lose weight with Alex Goen patented hypnosis.
This is Lisa Stofan. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda